We're delighted to be in the presence of an international style icon today, Gwen Stefani, an artist who was the singer of No Doubt, sold 17 million albums worldwide, and she now owns her own fashion label and is due to release her debut solo single in 2 weeks' time, and an album following that. Gwen, hello.
You got me so nervous. I'm like, what? I'm embarrassed, and I'm probably not going to fit through the door on the way out. My head's going to be this big and stuff.
Really pleased to meet you.
Nice to meet you, too.
Thank you for seeing us today.
It's my pleasure.
I wanted to just ask you about almost the new you, the solo you, in a way, and just ask you where you're at with your mind and your emotions about these forthcoming releases.
Well, first of all, I mean, I'm not calling it a solo record. Like, I'll be the first one to be like, I did my solo record, out here I'm coming, you know, but this record's sort of less me than, like, anything I've ever done, because it's a big collaboration of working with a bunch of different talented people, you know, and, like, normally I'm, in No Doubt, I mean, that's very purely me. It's like, I do the lyrics, I do the melodies, I do, you know, it's like, it's me. This was me kind of like taking my ego and going, you go over there and shut up, and you're gonna, you know, I've written all these songs in my life, but I don't know how I've ever done it. Like, it's such a mystery to me, songwriting, and so going in with like all these different talented people and seeing how they do it, that was kind of like this kind of little personal challenge that I wanted to take on. And I heard like a Club Nouveau song, and you know, I grew up as like a real hardcore ska girl in high school, like major, like that was what I was into. And the popular music at the time, you know, it wasn't really my thing, but it was the backdrop of my life. And when I would go dancing at Disneyland, because I grew up in Anaheim, and that's where I go dancing, you know, I would be dancing to like Club Nouveau, Lisa Cult Jam, and Prince, and The Time. And I wanted to make a record that made me feel how those records made me feel, but I wanted to go and work with the people that are in the clubs right now, which is like Dre and Andre 3000 and Pharrell, and just make like a record that felt like that, but was a modern version of it. So that was kind of, it's a side project, you know. It's like I wanted to do a dance record and be in the club before I die. That's it. It's not a solo record. A solo record would be me like sitting at the piano and, you know, doing it all by myself, but this is like a big collaboration. I can't take all the credit for it. I wish I could, but I can't.
You mentioned a list of people there. It's just a fantastic sort of cast list that you managed to get together. Who really was the most interesting of that bunch of people that you mentioned to work with? Who did you bond the most with, I guess?
You know, the one that was the most, I wouldn't say, they were all interesting in their own way, and they're all magical in their own way. The one that was the most surprising to me, and the one that wasn't on my list, was Linda Perry. She's somebody I've known for years, that we were the first two girls signed to Interscope. And, you know, I remember her from the Four Non Blondes or whatever, you know. I know she's a talented girl, but I didn't know how talented she actually was. And she kind of came up to me at the Grammys and put me in a chokehold and, like, looked at me in the eye. She looked the eye of the tiger, and she's like, we're going to write songs together. And I was like, you know, I was almost like, how am I going to get out of this kind of thing? Because I was looking to write with Prince, you know what I mean? I just didn't think that I would go there and get a dance record, you know, and I went for it, you know, and I went in with her, because I was all about don't say no and be open and take chances, and that was the whole attitude of this whole project. And I was just surprised by how unbelievably talented this woman is, and how she can, like, I never worked with a woman before. She can, like, run the whole board. She has all this equipment, and then her whole sparkly personality and her inspiration. She's unbelievable.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And the coming up single, What You Waiting For, is with her, right?
Yeah, basically I had gone in the studio with her, like, reluctantly, and we had written a song together, like the song that I thought we'd write together, called Fine By You, which was all about, I don't want to be inspired, I don't want to call anyone, I just want to lay around in bed all day, and anything I do is fine by you. And it's this really sweet kind of love song. And I went home that day thinking, damn, that feels good, you know, because I was so scared to write and do it, you know. And if I did it, I wrote something. It definitely wasn't what I was looking for, but the next day I came in, and she kind of had been up all night and, like, kind of wouldn't even talk to me, just kind of pressed play, and was like, what you waiting? I was like, it was almost a dare. It was a dare. She's like, what the fuck you waiting for, Gwen, kind of thing. And then it just came out of me. It was like this whole, obviously, my fears of doing the record, but my kind of like, what do you got to lose kind of attitude. And when I wrote it, I was like, damn, I just wrote my first single. And it really was. I had called everyone. They didn't want to hear anything about it. They were like, you got so much work to do, you know, whatever. But it ended up really being the first single, which feels really bizarre because the whole idea of going back and being in Japan and, like, traveling the world, and that was where I kind of found my inspiration to, like, do the record that day. And we just flew in from Tokyo. So it was just like, it's bizarre. I feel like I walked into my own dream. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing.
It is crazy.
And that Alice in Wonderland sort of vibe is there all through, and I think that's a lovely little touch, actually.
But it really, I mean, the Alice in Wonderland theme just kept coming up throughout the year. Like, I had seen this, a director had come up to me at a party, and he was like, what do you think about playing Alice in Wonderland for, like, some musical, musical he was going to do? I was like, don't tease me. I said, don't say it if you're not going to mean it. And anyways, that was like, that came, and then that same week I had this Annie Leibovitz Vogue spread that she had done, this Alice in Wonderland thing, Gorgeous with John Galliano, and I tore that out. And it just kept, I mean, I'm not kidding you, that theme kept coming back to me. And by the time I ended up doing the record, the video, with Francis Lawrence, it was just very clear that the whole Alice in Wonderland trip was exactly the trip I'd been on. It was like this maze, you know, trying to find my way to the other side of making this record, and kind of drowning in the creativity of everybody around me, and like outgrowing what I'd done in the past, and just chasing the white rabbit boy. This whole clock is ticking in my ear because I feel like I'm running out of time. Like, there's so many things I want to do. And
a sort of little secret or little exclusive little nugget of information you could give us about either the recording or the experience of it that maybe you haven't let in anyone else on, that I could take away.
That you could take away?
Something, I don't know, some little ritual of you warming up before hours. I don't know, anything from the recording process. Or
I just think that one thing that I learned was to shut up. Like, don't prejudge, because when you're in with, like, when I was in with all these people, there were so many different times where I just wanted to be like, no, I'm not doing that, or I'm not open to that, or shutting myself off. But then as soon as I would try on whatever they might suggest, it would be like, oh, that looks good. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't have picked that, but whether it be a lyric or a melody or just an arrangement, anything. So I think that was something that was kind of, it's hard to admit it, you know, because I think it was the whole thing was training my ego, and my ego still hurts. Like, I don't feel good still. Like, I still want to be like, I did this part, they did that part, da-da-da, and I know that nobody cares except for me, but I think in some ways now it's kind of inspired me to do a solo record, maybe, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, I don't know, or to go back and flirt around with my band again and maybe bring what I learned and write some songs with those guys in the comfort zone. So, I got a lot out of it, I really did, and a really great record, and I got to work with really great people. So.
Great, well, thank you for talking to us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.
It's nice to meet you guys.
That was Gwen Stefani on Tiscali.